Good morning, Malcolm Nance.
Good morning, Stephanie Miller. How are you and your lovely minions?
And my minions. We are fine, sir.
You've been on the TV machine quite a bit.
Yes. And doing the Lord's work as usual, sir. How are you?
I will be on the TV machine in a few hours.
Really? Why so long?
Oh.
Well, Malcolm, let's break down what's going on. Let's just say a lot, first of all, right? Comey tomorrow. What are you expecting on that?
Well, to tell you the truth, I'm expecting some measure of fireworks, but I think they're going to be the kind of fireworks where you really have to concentrate. And at some point, the one question that's going to be asked of him is going to be the key question. Did Donald Trump tell you to drop the Russian investigation? And I think he's just going to answer in a very simple yes.
Wow.
And that's it. Game over.
Wow.
Game over, man. Game
over, man.
Game over. But if you never know, because if he's like John Brennan, then he's out of zero fricks to give.
Yeah.
And, he may just decide that, multiple rapid-fire machine gun level, retribution is overdue. But you have to understand, he has documented all of this.
Yeah.
Yep.
The way to get him to answer those questions is to say, did you write a document that says this? And all he has to say is, why, yes. Can you confirm that this took place? Why, yes.
Right.
He doesn't even have to enunciate it. All he has to do is verify it.
And he apparently is going to verify that, of course, he didn't tell the president on 3 separate occasions he was not under investigation.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Well, at that point, you've got, and not only did he not tell the president that, he ran back to his office, documented it contemporarily, then told his assistant that this is what, this guy was trying to get me. So Trump is living, obviously, in an alternate reality, but he's about to come into the full, I was going to say paper shredder, but I think that's wrong. I think he's coming into the full wood chipper of American democracy. And the systems that the founding fathers put into place were designed to root out men like this, using evidence from people like Jim Comey.
You tweeted, whatever Russia has on Trump, its blackmail value is obviously extremely strong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is just, like you say, it's not even a bombshell a day, is it, Malcolm? It is several a day.
Yeah, 5 o'clock, I fear 5:30. Okay? you start getting in the car and start driving home, and suddenly it's like 3, 2, 1. And now it's not even one breaking news story per afternoon. It's 2 to 3. But I wrote that tweet because he had written into his speech at NATO that they would firm and solid commitment of the United States to meeting Article 5 of the NATO Charter,
right,
and that the United States would commit to defend its allies. He deliberately cut it out while he was speaking.
Wow.
And at that point, you just got to go, wow. I mean, this isn't even a question of offending your bookie. This is a question of your own. And you've decided that payback has got to be open, overt. It has to be public. It's like this isn't even take the gun, hide the, or take the cannoli, leave the gun, right?
Yeah.
This is take the cannoli, take the gun, and then wait around for the cops. It's like he wants to be caught.
Yeah.
And this is ISIS level crazy,
Well, and blindsided his own national security team, right?
And yes, not only blindsided his own national security team, but he had to know his national security team, who were supposed to be the adults in the room, would talk about this.
Yeah.
Did he really think the laws of Omerta are going to apply? You just took the United States out of a definitive commitment to defend our allies that defended us on September 11th.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Dimes will be dropped, and they were dropped within minutes.
And how about Putin, the Putin interview, and he's, proven to be a liar seconds later by the Intercept story, right?
Oh, my God. Vladimir Putin's ex-director of the KGB. Don't believe a word he says. I mean, that guy. The only thing I could believe that Putin Putin said or did during that interview was when he was laughing.
Yeah.
Putin is laughing
at us.
This is a man who is a full-time human manipulator, and he's now mafia chieftain, head of the world's largest oligarchy aristocracy. and he now technically has nominal control of the United States and its foreign policy. So, of course, I'm not going to tell you nothing, but I will tell you all the fantasy stories that are in the alt-right and right-wing media.
Yeah. Malcolm, I saved something for you. Because it will tell you the threat we're up against in America and how only you can save us now. So my Republican Trump voting brother was here recently. Although I don't even think did he admit, Vanessa, that they voted for Trump?
He wouldn't say.
No, you know what they say now? No, they're just not political now. They're just sick of politics now. But I gave him your book because I said Malcolm's a friend of mine. He's Colin Powell Republican, Navy guy, intelligence professional all his life. Just read this, right? Can I read you what he said?
What did he say?
You can tell me. All right, so as I've said, let's keep in mind this book was written before the election, before like 17,000 bombshells ago. As you always tell us, intelligence is not evidence. We have obviously gotten into the phase where intelligence is becoming evidence. But so he wrote, I read the book you gave me on the plane, most of it anyway, and certainly chapter 9. And I must say, I'm still not sure what you're so exercised about. The author said exactly the same thing in his book that I said to you, in spite of the guy obviously being a Trump detractor. That's you. He said, A, this has all happened before, and B, any talk of Trump being complicit in some kind of treasonous act should be dismissed immediately, as neither he nor anyone else is making any such claim with any credibility. The Soviets, Russians have been spying electronically and attacking us as we do to them and others since World War II, so none of this is shocking. Anyway, I'm not trying to start any debate because I know there's nothing I'm going to say that's going to persuade you of anything, and politics these days gives me a headache. I just wanted to thank you for the book. Mom wanted to read it, so I gave it to her. Oh, my God.
One sentence in chapter 9, and he gloms onto it and ignores the rest of my book.
Yep.
Right? All I said was, you can't call it treason right now. And
That was
right
6
now,
months
when I wrote
before.
That sentence was September 23rd.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Right?
I mean, isn't that...
far past that sentence.
But Malcolm, this is why I told him, and obviously you say on my show all the time, this is why you have so much credibility on these matters, not only because you're a career intelligence professional, but because you don't come from the left. You don't come from a partisan bent. You come from an American bent on this.
That, and I tell everybody about Plot to Hack America, that is not a book. I'm not a journalist. That is an intelligence analysis, and the CIA wrote the exact same intelligence analysis.
Right.
Therefore, this is what it would look like if ISIS attacked us. I would just be replacing Russia with ISIS and cyber attack with bombs, right? So the evidence is, as we call it, is clearly there. Anyone that doesn't want to believe in it, that's fine. And the only question I ask your brother, with all the sincerity in my heart of someone who spent his entire life defending him, why do you believe the word of an ex-KGB director over the entirety of the U.S. intelligence agency?
Yeah.
Right.
Why do you love
But
Moscow so much?
this is what we're up against, Malcolm. Is it? I don't know whether it's people that only watch Fox News or they've tuned out entirely. But I'm like, is there some way that you can have missed all of these news stories in the last apparently? I mean, apparently he thinks the point of your book is that there's no there, and we should know.
What? He didn't read the book. He read the last section. Look, all he had to read is the chapter of Attack of the Cyber Bears and the chapter on how Putin manipulates people, and you're done. I mean, it spells out pretty clearly. You've read that book on television, on radio here, and you know what? Your brother just desperately doesn't want to be found wrong.
Yeah.
But you know what? This whole thing is coming down to, do you support America or do you support treason?
I'm just going to write him back and say we'll talk after the indictment / resignation / whatever.
And ask him, who does he stand for? Does he stand for the country, or does he stand with them? Because if you stand with them, that means you support what they did.
Yeah.
And when we find out what they did, which is going to be ugly, all right, your brother's going to be swearing to God he loved Plot to Hack America.
There's no better use of your plane time, America, than to read the Plot to Hack America. You also... Speaking of him starting one international crisis after another, you said Trump admits he took part in planning the Qatar crisis. Prediction, U.S. Central Command to be kicked out of Qatar in 3, 2, 1. I mean, it's just there's nothing that he just won't shut up about or try to take credit for and make worse, right?
You're absolutely right. I mean, the whole thing with Qatar clearly came about it had nothing to do with Russian hacks. It had nothing to do with emails from Yusuf Otaiba, the U.S. ambassador to the UAE. or UAE's ambassador to the U.S. It had to do with the very fact that a lot of people believe that Qatar was funding Islamic extremism and supporting the Muslim Brotherhood, some of which was true. But they were also a determined, ally with the United States. The Saudis have obviously recalibrated Trump, all those golden towers over there, all that money in his face, and he just agreed with whatever they said.
Yeah.
Now they've taken diplomatic action to cut Qatar off. And technically, they're just preparing for regime change, which could, make things even more difficult.
Yeah. Well, Malcolm, so where do you think we're at with all this? Because I think it really is, like you say, it almost is like too much news to digest every day between, just when you're digesting the Intercept story, you have Senator Mark Warner come out and say it's even worse than we know in that story in terms of how deeply they penetrated into our voting systems, right?
Well, I wrote a whole section of the book saying that if they were going to target anything, the FSB would target the tally process at the state electoral board level, which is exactly what the article said in the Intercept, that they were trying to spearfish election board members so that they would get their passwords to their computers. Not the computers for the voting machines. You can't get to the individual voting machine. You get to the tally when all the votes come together, and that computer is where you can mess with the numbers.
I swear to God, Malcolm,
I've said that every day since August 25th.
Yeah,
July 25th.
I know. I was saying I feel the same as you, that this is not this is long since, ceased to be a partisan thing. It is American thing, and I think as someone, the daughter of a vice presidential candidate and a congressman and a Nuremberg prosecutor, reading that, it just makes me sick to my stomach. And you're right, I can't believe anybody on any side of the aisle would not just be sick to your stomach to realize that a hostile foreign power has installed our president. We are supposed to be the beacon of democracy around the world, right?
Absolutely right. And, and if you need to recalibrate yourself, and I'm glad you mentioned your dad and being a Nuremberg prosecutor, go watch Judgment at Nuremberg, right?
Yeah.
Old school American values. And, in the face of really evil people, upholding the rule of law. And I'm proud that your dad was one of those guys, I mean, I'm sure he was played by Spencer Tracy, but
wasn't everybody.
Wasn't the guy that was pro-Nazi. But this is what it used to be like, because that generation, the greatest generation, fought those wars and had to sacrifice for our values. These guys who run the White House right now, none of them have sacrificed anything. Michael Flynn, God knows what's happened to him. I think we're going to be hearing about him and the terms Fort Leavenworth very soon. I think he's been flipped by the Russians.
God, Malcolm, I swear it's like, I was saying this, that I don't know what proportion. I mean, we know we've seen people at Trump rallies with signs saying, "Thank you, Russia." But there has got to be normal Republicans out there that this makes them, even privately sick to their stomachs to know that this was not a free and fair election.
It's a very simple question. Again, everybody should, this is the deal-breaking question. Do you support the actions of an ex-director of the KGB over America, yes or no?
Yep,
Just
there it is.
Simple.
There it is. Malcolm, my friend, thank you once again.
You're welcome.
All
I
right.
hope to see you guys soon.
All right. I'm not going to bring up Mrs. Nance because it just harshes my buzz. But give her my love.
You love her, I know.
All right. See you. Bye.